What I said back there about thinking I was better at stuff than you? To tell you the truth, Sora, I was jealous of you.
What for?
I wished I could live life the way you do. Just following my heart.
Yeah, well, I've got my share of problems too.
Like what?
Like wanting to be like you.
Well, there is one advantage to being me. Something you can never imitate.
Really? What's that?
Having you for a friend.
Then I guess I'm okay the way I am. I've got something you could never imitate too.
Have you ever had that one video game that, without fail, brought you to the point of tears when you reached its conclusion? No matter how many times you've beaten the game, you have that exact same feeling you had when you first finished it? In most cases when it comes to video games, the reasons why they are so loved is due to the emotions that you experience throughout them. Whether it be pure happiness, or whether it's sadness, or anger, or even a combination of all three, there is something that emotionally ties us with the game itself. Now, is that to say that Kingdom Hearts 2's ending is only as good as it is because it's able to make you feel sad or happy? Of course not. Like with any piece of media, it goes much deeper than that. Flashback to Kingdom Hearts 1, where our heroes defeated the big bad guy of the game, saved all the worlds, and all is presumably good. Well, except for the fact that two of our important friends, that being Mickey and Riku, are missing and we have to get them back. It's from this point that Sora and company need to find Mickey and Riku so that Sora and Riku can go back home to Kairi, and Mickey can go back home with Donald and Goofy. Of course, this isn't exactly how things went, and our heroes all went through some of the most difficult times of their lives that they have ever faced. Fast forward a year later after Chain of Memories to Kingdom Hearts 2. The main mission hasn't changed. Find King Mickey and Riku and return home, except this time we get confirmation that at least Mickey is okay, but when it comes to Riku, at least from Sora's perspective, it's a complete mystery as to what happened to him and where he currently is. He does get his answers, however, once Sora and company reach the last world of Kingdom Hearts 2, the world that never was. Here, Sora and Kairi get their long-awaited reunion. Riku, under the guise of Ansem, was close to leaving, but Kairi ends up stopping him, revealing that it's actually Riku. At this point, Sora breaks down and starts to cry out of relief that his best friend Riku is alive. Riku explains that in order to fully use the power of darkness, he had to take on this form, and that he didn't want Sora to see him like that. Ironically enough, the only reason why he had to use this power was because in the one-year time skip between Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2, he wanted to do everything in his power to help Sora wake up, so that he could get his best friend back. Goofy brings up the fact that throughout the game, someone would leave certain hints along their path, and it finally connected at that moment that Riku was the one doing so. Eventually, Riku obtains his original body back, and there is only one thing that is in their way from returning home: Xemnas. After a very grueling series of battles, Sora and Riku come face to face with Xemnas. After a truly amazing final battle, Sora and Riku end up victorious. It's too soon to celebrate, however, because after they beat Xemnas, a bunch of nobodies spawn and try to finish the job. After they easily dispatch them, Riku falls to the ground tired and Sora helps him up. As they are trying to find a way out of where they currently are, Riku tells Sora that he figured that he was always better than Sora at things. I assume this was spurred on by the fact that even in their seemingly dire situation, Sora is still happy and optimistic about them getting home, even when there is no real sign of that happening. Riku, on the other hand, is more realistic and serious about the situation. Riku ends up asking if that makes Sora mad, in which Sora responds with, "Not really," and then that he always figured that Riku was always better at everything as well. As they walk, a path finally opens and they both take it, but it isn't a path home, it's a path straight to the realm of darkness. Now, if you've been paying attention, you may have noticed that throughout this entire video so far, I've been recapping all of the events up until this point, but I haven't really expressed how said events made me, and most likely a bunch of you watching, feel. From the point of reuniting with Riku and Kairi, to Riku getting his body back, to seeing Roxas and Naminé accept that their place was to be with their original somebodies, all of these events probably triggered at least one or more of the many emotions that I spoke of at the very beginning of this video. Happiness, sadness, a combination of both, or even anger. 2.5 games spanned over the course of 4 to 5 years, and we finally are at a point where our beloved characters have met again, and are almost home free. Reuniting with Kairi and Riku invoked both a feeling of happiness, but also an extreme feeling of relief. Kairi getting Sora to realize that the person standing before the two of them is actually Riku and not Ansem, and us seeing Sora's reaction to his best friend being okay is probably some of the most heartwarming interactions I have seen in any video game to date. From Sora's perspective, Kairi was fine up until a point because she was left on the island and wasn't any real danger until recently. For Riku, he had been missing the entire while, and Sora didn't know if he was okay. For all he knew, Riku could have been gone for good, so while as the players knew Riku was fine, putting yourselves into Sora's shoes for a minute, you can start to understand why he broke down as hard as he did for Riku. Heck, I broke down as much as Sora did, and I knew Riku was okay. Similar feelings were definitely had when it came to Riku getting his body back as well. While I am much like Sora in thinking that Riku is Riku no matter what form it is he takes, that feeling of relief certainly came back to me as we see Riku no longer being ashamed of what he looks like, and now he has finally resolved to getting things back to normal. After which, we get into the final segments of the game, for which we eventually reach a scene where Naminé and Roxas appear before Kairi and Sora. Back when I first played this game and watched this scene, I was overcome with a whole bunch of different emotions. I was happy to see all four of these characters interacting with each other after everything they've gone through, but at the same time I was slightly upset that Naminé and Roxas couldn't be their own people. It was even more upset at the fact that it just wasn't fair for them, and I didn't give it much thought for a while afterwards. Of course, now that I'm older, I understand that both of them at this point are happy with being with Sora and Kairi and feel this to be the best course of action because whenever Sora and Kairi are together, Roxas and Naminé are as well. It is definitely a bittersweet scene for a lot of people, myself included. Now going back to Sora and Riku in the Realm of Darkness, we reach the final stages of the game, the end of the road. Here, both Sora and Riku assume that there is no way of leaving and that they might be here for good, but that it's okay due to the fact that all of their friends and the Realm of Light is safe now. As they are both sitting on the beach, Riku has a heart-to-heart with Sora, saying that he was always jealous of Sora and wished that he could live the way Sora does, just following his heart. Sora responds in kind, saying that he has his share of problems as well, and that it's to be like Riku. Riku smiles and then tells Sora that there is one advantage to being him over being Sora, and that is the fact that he has Sora as a friend. Sora says the same thing to Riku, and my heart grows 5 times bigger every time I watch this scene. These friends have been through thick and thin together, and to see them have a heart-to-heart for the first time in years after what they've both been through, the feeling I get is more than what words can really describe, and it made me wish when I played this game that I eventually would be able to have a friendship like Sora and Riku, and I'm definitely happy to say that I do. While Sora and Riku are on the beach in silence, Riku notices a message on a bottle washed up on shore. He unbottles it and reads it and immediately tells Sora that he believes this message is for him. It is the very same message on a bottle that Kairi had written and sent off at the very beginning of the game. This is a very powerful and emotional moment. As the orchestral version of Simple and Clean plays and the graphics change to CG, we hear Kairi's inspirational words to Sora and how he is the key. As Sora finishes the letter, a pathway to the Realm of Light appears. Sora says to Riku that they will go back together, to which Riku agrees. Both get up and walk forward and finally make it back to the Realm of Light. After passing through, they found themselves in the ocean, but soon after, their names being called by Kairi. Sanctuary after the battle starts to play. Kairi waves to both Sora and Riku and they both swim toward the island. Sora begins to run, but is soon interrupted and hugged by Donald and Goofy. Riku catches Mickey, and everyone shares a smile with one another. Sora then looks up at Kairi. He then remembers what she said near the end of Kingdom Hearts 1 and brings out her lucky charm, and then for a split second we see Roxas and Naminé appear as the game further shows us that the both of them are now happy and together now that Sora and Kairi are together. Sora then says we're back. Kairi reaches out her hand to him and says, "You're home." She proceeds to help him up and the credits start to roll. I don't even know where to start with my feelings on this sequence. Tears were already rolling down my face by this point. I feel like the ending really does just speak for itself. I can't begin to describe how powerful and well put together it actually is. You see Donald and Goofy run up and embrace Sora as hard as they can. Donald is wiping away his tears. Goofy is just overcome with happiness and is hugging Sora. Riku and Mickey are as happy as can be, and well, you can tell from the way Kairi is that she knew they would come back, as she just happily welcomed them home. I believe this to be my favorite ending in any game ever. It's so well put together, and all of the important ends wrapped up as nice as they could be. It's amazing. Even while you are viewing the credits, you can see the stories of the Disney worlds that you saved being continued in a happy manner. It's just really the icing on the cake. After the credits, we are treated to a heartwarming scene where Sora and Riku are chilling together and reflecting on their journey. Soon after though, Kairi runs up to both Sora and Riku with a new message, but this time it's from Mickey. As the three friends read the letter, the camera pans out, and that is the end of Kingdom Hearts 2. What I love about this last scene is that even though we got an extremely conclusive ending, it still left the possibility of the series continuing. As a 10-year-old kid, that excited me more than words can describe. The future of the series is further teased with the secret ending that hits Birth by Sleep. All in all, for me personally, Kingdom Hearts 2's ending is the best ending I've ever seen, and it's only amplified due to my connection with the story prior to its release and its characters. I grew up with this franchise, and in turn, I grew up with Sora and the gang, so to see everyone happy and together again after struggling for so long, it was magical, and I wouldn't trade my experience with this game and its ending for the world. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I truly hope you all enjoyed it. This is the type of content I really enjoy making, and I find will be the future of this channel, along with another huge surprise I have coming in about 2 months' time or so. Thank you all so much for the support, as I really would not be here without you. If you did enjoy, a like on the video and a possible sub if you're new would be really appreciated, as it's the best way to get the channel out there, and it's free, so I mean, you know. Please let me know what ending from whichever Kingdom Hearts game resonates with you the most in the comments. I'd love to read your guys' experiences. Thank you all so much again for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.